Alright, so I thought I would go ahead. I've been playing Witcher 3 and sharing a playthrough of Witcher 3 Complete Edition on the PS4 on the channel with no dialogue. But I decided I would go ahead and do a little Witcher 3 next gen. This is the PlayStation 5 with a Complete Edition with ray tracing on. So this is the latest edition, I don't know, a year or so. I think they upgraded it and put it out on disc about a year ago. And again, unfortunately, we can only stream at 1080p, so there's no way to stream this at 4K, but ray tracing is on, which locks the frame rate at 30 frames per second. So a couple things with next gen. Everything's closer, so you're closer in combat, closer in on foot travel, and closer in horse travel to your character, so you're closer to the character, which you can change back to default. You can get further away, so you've got more, you're less, right on Geralt. And again, the ray tracing is on. Whether you'll see it as well in this video at 1080p capture, I don't know, but anyway, hopefully the mic's working. I thought I would share some of this, and also I'm going full immersion, which means no, the HUD is on, so I can interact with things, but there is no map on. There is no information on the screen outside of date, place, names, and of course subtitles. And I'm doing it in the original developer language of Polish, so all the voice acting is in Polish and subtitled in English, of course. So this is full immersion mode. So let's enjoy. This is the very beginning after you wake up from your dream, and you fight the ghouls here at the campfire, and we're headed into
Mówiłem ci,
town.
że spotkałem kiedyś czarodzieja, który się rozwodził. Jakie to pożyteczne stworzenia?
Bo z ich krwi można ważyć eliksiry?
Nie, bo zjadając gnijące ciała, zapobiegają wybuchom epidemii.
A wiedział, że żywych też jedzą?
Nie, bardzo się zmartwił. Przeczyło to jego teorii.
Yeah, the lighting in this game, for a game that was 2015 originally, this company, Project Red, first of all, I think the Witcher series is remarkable, with 1, 2, and 3. This particular game is a masterpiece. I own it on every machine I own. I own it on the Switch, the PlayStation 4, and the PlayStation 5.
Źle się wojna dla naszych toczy.
Naszych?
It is
Jakich naszych?
remarkable. In a game this old
Chyba
keeps
królestw
getting love
Radowida,
from
bo
the
Temerii i
developer.
Kedwen już nie ma.
Radowid mówi, że jak tylko wygra wojnę, cofnie wojska za stare
There's
granice.
nothing quite like it.
Coś trzeba wiedzieć.
Prior to
Dożyć
its
się
release,
odechciała.
there wasn't anything quite like this as a role-playing console game. So the only thing that, for me, that makes this less traditional role-playing and more of a
Teraz wolniej.
I generally define role-playing games by whether you get to invent your character, create your character. All the features in this, it's definitely a role-playing game, technically. But what I mean is, the only thing about this that would have made it better is if I could have created my own character. But these are the Geralt stories from the books, the original books, so I get it. I much prefer to have created a character in something like this. I think Witcher 4, you will be able to create your own character in the world, which, if it is anything like this game or this series, it will be a masterpiece, sight unseen. If it's more like Cyberpunk, which I think is a complete disaster, a technical mess, they went to first person, which I think makes the game really, for me, less immersive. Ironically, it's supposed to be more immersive, which first person games generally are more immersive for me, but Cyberpunk
Jedziemy?
is a mess, I think. I think it's still, even with all the fixes, Cyberpunk's a bit of a mess, technically. And, again, you create your own character in that, which is cool, and you pick from 3 different kind of classes to start, 3 different backgrounds to start. So Cyberpunk has a lot of great role-playing elements. But I just, that game, I've tried it, I own it, and I've tried it multiple times. I just cannot get past limitations. So I do hope Witcher 4 is more like this and less like Cyberpunk. So what makes Witcher 3 a masterpiece? Well, attention to detail, quality, the level of engagement. So there are no... Everything has context. So the simplest dialogue with an NPC that asks you to do something has significant quantity of detail to it. It makes you feel like you are actually in a world dealing with people who aren't just quest givers. This, for instance, this is a cutscene in which we rescue this guy.
Mało brakowało, a skończyłbym jak moja kobyłka.
Jeśli miałbyś szczęście.
It's utterly useful
koń zginął od razu.
because it introduces us to the character, to the region,
żywcem po kawałku.
and it gives us an opportunity to role play. It gives me a chance to dictate right here, right now, what kind of guy I am. So this is where the role playing comes in video games. Do I say thanks, but we just saved your life because we're nice guys, or do I say give me some money? And it sets the tone for what kind of guy Geralt is, what kind of guy I'm playing Geralt as. We come across him, we saved him, it's what we would do. Or do I say, yeah, we could use some... I'm going to go ahead and tell him, look, dude, lucky for you we came along.
Nic nam nie jesteś winien. Byłeś w potrzebie, to pomogłeś.
So something this simple actually informs what kind of character we are as we play. Plus we meet somebody who is a shop merchant that we can deal with. He also gives us information,
Tak jak mówiłem, dochodzi do
and he
gościńca
tells
i
us
się
of a
urywa.
contact in
Zadeptany.
the closest little village, his aunt or his sister or something. So the first cutscene of actual gameplay that isn't part of the tutorial dream is remarkable. The depth of acting, quality, voice work, and why we're doing it. It's not just... It's setting up multiple things here. One, what kind of guy am I? Two, who is this guy? He becomes somebody we talk to again later. Answers a couple of questions for us for our story. And points us to an end. Right? I mean, it's every single thing in the Witcher 3 game is like this. There is no throwaway hand-waving stuff. It is remarkable.
Wspomnijcie, że Bram was przysyła, to przyjmie jak swój.
Niezły pomysł. Zwłaszcza, że trzeba oczyścić twoją ranę.
Tam ledwie mnie drasnął, ale napiłbym się dobrej żytniej, takiej chłodnej, wiesz, prosto z piwniczki.
To jedźmy.
Okay, so again, we had a chance to express early in the game what kind of character we are. We've met a future trader who will probably give us, I think he gives us a discount because we didn't ask him to pay for that help. He's pointed us to the closest village and to his,
Swoją drogą,
I think it's
gryf tak blisko wsi, to dziwne.
Tak samo pomyślałem. W lesie czy w górach to rozumiem.
and we also learned in that cutscene that there's a griffin
Może to
on
przez
the
wojnę.
loose that is
Trupny smród krwi,
menacing the
spalenizny.
area. So we
Potwory
also
czasem
find
z
out
tego
about the
wariują.
griffin. So
Nie mówiąc o
the
ludziach.
very
Musimy
first
uważać w
interactive
tym białym
cutscene
sadzie i
of
wyjechać, jak
gameplay
tylko się czegoś
is
dowiemy.
loaded with details, quality information, and this is what a tabletop role-playing session should feel like, right? That first meeting with in which we narrate a scene in which a griffin's attacking a cart and killing a horse, and the players will respond to that, chasing it off, and then they meet an NPC hiding under the cart, and there's all of these opportunities for information, exposition, roleplay. That's where Witcher 3 shines as a role-playing game, and in many ways does what you would do in a quality tabletop game experience as GMs and players. So again, this is the next-gen version with ray tracing. The lighting is a little better. You're going to see reflections in the water, which you don't see without ray tracing. Ray tracing is pretty remarkable, but it locks the game at 30 frames per second. So again, I've already played through this whole first map on the videos that I've done in the PS4 version, but I thought I would go ahead and do this as a comparison and talk over it.
Nie żadne to, tylko herb, te merskie lilie. I mają tu wisieć.
To już nie jest Temeria, dziadku. To już Nilfgaard.
Po moim trupie!
I mean, it builds atmosphere. And remember, this game is, again, 8 years old. And for me, it doesn't show its age in gameplay. The fighting, the combat, the spellcasting does not show its age like some games do. You know, when I play the Batman Arkham Asylum game, which is one of my favorite games of all time, boy, does it feel clunky now. But it's still a brilliant game, and it feels like an old game. This does not.
Ludzie tu nerwowe. Nie dość, że dopiero
It's
co wojska
remarkable. I
przeszły,
can't get
to
over it.
jeszcze
It was so
gryf
ahead
nam
of its
się
time
zarął.
Zdążyliśmy się
interactive,
zapoznać.
in
Napadł na
roleplay
twojego
as well
pewnego
as in
brama.
quality control.
A co z nim?
Żyje i pozdrawia.
Mości Wiedźmini. Jadło i napitek na mój rachunek. Co podać?
And I played the first two Witcher games on the PC way back in the day. Never finished them. They were I didn't have a PC that could run them really well. So, but they were what I played of them were remarkable for really old PC games. I say really old, you know, late '90s, early 2000s, I think, mid 2000s. Okay, so here's a chance for us to ask about that griffin that we now have witnessed. Make small talk with her, shop, or get right to the point and ask her about the woman we're tracking, which is a former a witch, wizard, and a former lover of Geralt of Rivia. I'm gonna ask about that contract. I am a professional witcher, and it would be nice to make some money.
Jest zlecenie na tego gryfa?
Póki co to nie. Kiedyś tak jak i potwór gniazdo w okolicy mówił, to sołtys zbiórkę na nagrodę robił albo jechał do seniora o pomoc prosić. No, ale teraz sołtys nawet do ustępu nie pójdzie bez zgody czarnych, a seniora zdaje się powiesili. No to i kontraktu nie ma.
Szkoda, moglibyśmy coś poradzić, ale nie za darmo.
I'm gonna skip busy place. I'm gonna ask now direct
Szukam
question.
pewnej kobiety. Ciemne włosy, fiołkowe oczy, ubiera się tylko w czerni biel. Jechała od strony wierzbicy. I wiem, że zabrzmi to głupio, ale pachnie bzem i agrestem.
Nie widziałam takiej. Zapamiętałabym, uwierzcie.
Tak, ją ciężko zapomnieć.
To może kto inny wam pomoże. Dużo tu przejezdnych ze wszystkich stron. Popytajcie się.
I actually like the non-American voice actor for some of these games when I do this. Especially fantasy games, I kind of like a language I don't understand. It makes me feel like I'm in a world that's different than mine, yet obviously similar, recognizable, right, as a kind of a Middle Ages, but it's a fantastic world. So that's one reason I like doing the foreign language that I don't understand. It helps put me in a place that is indeed fantastical to me. But also, it's the Polish voice actor. It feels like his voice is less affected, like he's doing less of an attempt to sound a particular way, less of a Clint Eastwood kind of. I mean, so I feel like the Polish actor is just more natural and less affected than the voice actor for Witcher, which is still brilliant. I mean, he's a great voice actor, and it is a particular Geralt we all know, but ironically, I think the Polish actor feels more natural, less affected. Okay, so she has given us something in thanks for saving her nephew or whatever the hell he is, and she's told us a little bit of what we need
Dzięki,
to know.
to
So
wszystko.
I'll thank her. So we haven't had a chance to really
Pomóc ci z
compare
opatrunkami?
this to the other videos I
Jeszcze
put
nie
up.
zniedołężniałem.
But in a minute I'll be out of this situation.
popytam
We'll
o
see
Jenę.
some of the ray tracing and
Tylko pamiętaj, lepiej, żebyśmy nie zwracali na siebie uwagi.
but the lighting reflections, how the lighting reflects everything in certain ways, much more natural, much more
Oj, Mieszko, głupi jesteś jak kogut bez głowy.
Okay, so normally you can talk to these two guys, but I'm not gonna waste my time. They don't tell you anything. They allow you to earn 25 XP by mind fucking one of them. Here is where we learn how to play Gwent, the card game, minigame that's in Witcher, which I never play. I'm not interested in minigames in my adventures. If I want to play Gwent, I would just play Gwent. I don't really care. And this individual actually gives us information, Gaunter Odem, that leads us in the direction of the garrison. So we'll talk to
Szukam
him.
kobiety.
Jak wszyscy?
Nie jak wszyscy. Ta pachnie agrestem i bzem. Ubiera się w czerni biel.
2 sznapsy. To poprawi ci nastrój.
Not in the mood.
Nie pijam z nieznajomymi.
Dajże spokój. Wiem, że to plugawe miejsce, ale malucha na trawienie mógłbyś zmordować.
Możemy przejść do rzeczy? Widziałeś ją?
Yennefer z Wengerbergu?
Nie powiedziałem, jak ma na imię.
Ale dobrze ją opisałeś. A ja mam tak. Raz coś usłyszę, nigdy nie zapominam.
Who might you be?
Czym się zajmujesz? Kim jesteś?
Parszywy przybłęda. Gaunter Odim. Do usług.
Przybłęda to zawód?
Kiedyś handlowałem lustrami, więc wesoła gawieć ochrzciła mnie też panem lustro i szklanym człowiekiem.
Skąd
How
znasz
do you know
Yennefer?
Yen?
Też pytanie. Z ballad mistrza Jaskra. Dla biednego handlarza to jedyna okazja, żeby otrzeć się o wielkość. No, chyba że ma się tyle szczęścia, co ja.
I trafia się na bardzo cierpliwego wiedźmina.
Na samego Geralta z Rivii, rzeźnika z Blaviken.
Now I could ask him how he knows me, but I'm not interested. I want to now cut to the chase.
Widziałeś Yennefer?
Przepraszam, ale muszę o to spytać. Czy tu chodzi o miłość?
Yeah, I mean, listen, sure. It's about love.
Zgadłeś, to miłość.
Od razu wiedziałem.
Mów, co wiesz.
Zanim się nie pojawiłeś, do głowy mi nie przyszło, że to Yennefer. Kto by pomyślał?
Do rzeczy.
Zwiadowca z nilfgaardzkiego garnizonu ją widział.
Gdzie?
W ich obozie. Wpadła tam w środku nocy. Czerń i biel, agrest i... Tak, wiem. Zamieniła kilka słów z dowódcą garnizonu i pognała dalej.
Gdzie?
Nie jestem wszechwiedzący. Pytaj w garnizonie.
Dzięki.
My, ludzie gościńca, musimy trzymać się razem. Może kiedyś ja znajdę się w kłopocie, a ty będziesz w pobliżu.
Alright, so that sets us on a real direction now for the remainder of this kind of, for the beginning of the game, the first country that we're in. Alright, when you exit here, these bullies want a piece of me, and they're gonna get a piece of me.
Już sobie wypiłeś?
This is where the game, for me, reminds me so much of
To
spaghetti
wypierdalaj.
westerns. This is the kind of
Nie
shit I
chcemy tu
love.
takich jak ty.
So this is a fantasy sword and sorcery game, but there are so many moments in Witcher 3 that point you toward the Western film genre, the spaghetti Western in particular by Sergio Leone. Witcher 3 to me feels straight up, it's a Western with swords and sorcery, and I love it. I absolutely love it. So here is a chance for me to use Mindfuck on one of them and even the odds a little bit, or I can just go up against them, and I will. I'll go ahead and gain
Nic
a
wam
little
nie
experience here
zrobiłem, uspokój się.
by dazing this guy. So now he's irrelevant. I don't have to worry about him in the
Nic
fight,
nie
but there
zrobiłeś.
will be a fist
Z
fight here.
kozłami zaczyna skurwysyn. Na niego!
Zatańczymy.
Fuck. Hey, this guy's pissing me off, man. This guy with the vest kicking my ass.
Miło było.
There we go. So I get 350 for that, which is, to be honest, a little bizarre for that particular. All right, so let's get on Roach. I try not to fast travel in these games because I like the immersion of having to use the world and the horses and the travel, etc. That's part of the joy and the immersion. No maps, no pointers. I have to then use, you know, locations, and it just immerses me more in the world. If I was in a race to finish the game, obviously I'd want all that stuff on, but I'm not. So I definitely want to grade this Witcher's contract right here, and the brother, aid to help the brother. Those are a couple of quests. And there's the Witcher contract, local Witcher contract. Of course, I can also talk to the blacksmith and solve the arsonist problem. Now, if I don't do that, I can't use this blacksmith to repair equipment or to upgrade my equipment. So if I do not help this blacksmith, that blacksmith will not open to me. So that's why that's important. But I'm not going to do it. I'm going to the garrison first. Wish people would bring their kids in. Get them out of the street, man. Jesus. Keep your kids out of the street, man. That's true in real life. It's true in video games. Don't let your kids wander around in the streets. Too much bad shit can happen to them. Get horse overed, right? Get hit by a car, playing in the street, all that kind of stuff. When I grew up, that's all we did was play in the street, by the way. So I say that, but that's all we did when I was growing up. So again, because I don't have the mini-map, I have to stop and get my bearings. We are headed over here, actually, so I'm way off track. Shit. So I'm going to turn around and head toward this bridge. Placing a marker is irrelevant because I don't have the mini-maps on, so I just got to know my location, so we're going to head this way. Toward that bridge. There it is. So again, you're closer to your character in the next-gen game. You're closer to Geralt on horse, off horse, and in combat.
Ooh.
You can change it back if you want. Oh, come here, Drowner. And I really want to take these Drowner outs because I want those Drowner brains. The Drowner brain is important to swallow a potion. And the swallow potion, we can use that later if I make a swallow potion for myself, but also there's a quest, a minor quest, in which I can give the swallow potion to a wounded female. And again, there is a point of interest here on the map that you would see if you had the map on, directing us to a dead body here floating in the water. And that dead body has a key on it, and that key allows us to open a couple of chests. But again, this is the thing, they're not just treasures you find, they all have a story element. So what is so great about Witcher is finding that key with a note. That note behind it is a much greater mystery and leads to other notes. It's really genius. Well, very much like the Fallout series by Bethesda, the Skyrim series. If you read the notes, you do the stuff, you find out there's a story that connects all the things to the world. They're not just, hey, look, a sword, right? It's not just, hey, here's a chance to get a sword. So anyway, there's a dead body here with a key. My Witcher senses are on, but I have it turned off to affect the world. So again, I have to be paying attention as I don't have the Witcher sense effect on. Temerian Lily. And then, of course, if I dive into the water here, I'll go ahead and do it just to show. I mean, everybody's played Witcher, I think. I think I may. Right? But now I can read this note, and it's going to tell the whole story as to how this stuff got here in that Temerian key, etc. And this is where it does not take the opportunity to present narrative to the player, the world, the depth, the detail. It does not take anything for granted. There are no fetch quests. There's no just wasted questing. It is a masterpiece, and it was, in my opinion, it was the first of its kind, really, that got big exposure to lots of players. There's been a lot of brilliant role-playing games over the last 30 years. But not a lot of them got mainstream exposure. I would say Witcher 3 was the first one, I think, that of this level of quality that received mainstream exposure, as opposed to PC players. PC gamers get a lot of brilliant shit for 30 years, right? I mean, the PC master race would always get great interesting games. Console gamers didn't always get this type of stuff, right? So this was a watershed, I think, in console role-playing games. For this kind of Western, genre game. So I'm going to that old wrecked, that's where the garrison is housed, in that old wrecked building. There's another point of interest here, guarded treasure, which is guarded by wolves. So we're going to go ahead and dispatch these guys while I'm here. Oh, damn, really? This is 30 frames per second, so, whoa, you gotta kind of adjust to the fact you're not as fast as 60 frames per second. So my timing in these combats a little off. And then, of course, there is some loot here for the point of interest, which gives me some crafting materials. Alright. And by the way, I don't know if you can see it, the water. Matter of fact, the water, yes, see, we're 1080p, so I'm not certain you'll see the ray tracing as well as you should. But normally the ray tracing at 4K, you see the reflections on the water, which are unbelievable. I'm not certain if we're really seeing them here in 1080p, or maybe we would be, but this is just a bad angle. But again, this game had brilliant lighting, a 24-hour clock, weather changes, wind, including wind, which creates a cool effect. Herbology, crafting, very, very cool game. And all of it had all of the systems required an activation that you just don't normally see. What I mean by that is you have to interact with the game to do it, which is very cool. For instance, the first thing I'd ever seen in a console role-playing game, one of the first remarkable moments that this was not like a typical RPG. There is a Witcher contract that you'll do in this first country that requires that you, as a professional, read the bestiary on the creature before it'll advance the information. And that I love that. I love that it shows you in that quest that you really should be reading about your targets and how to deal with them, especially more dangerous targets like the griffin. So if you can ignore this and play, and you may be successful, you may not, but it tells you what they're vulnerable against. Like a professional, right? You're actually doing a job. And that is something that I've greatly appreciated. And to introduce that, there is a quest early, the Witcher contract quest. Oh, it's not here. I've got to go back out here to quests. There it is, Witcher quest. So if I pursue this contract, there is a moment in the contract where I have to read the diary to get the information. I don't just pick up the diary. I have to actually read the diary by clicking on it, opening it up, and then I also have to read the bestiary to point me in the proper investigative areas of the village to actually learn what I need to learn to actually deal with the problem. So like role-playing games, we provide information as a GM, and then we ask the players to engage it, and we hope they'll investigate. They'll hope they'll do things to investigate. And then we may ask for a dice roll to confirm it or to achieve it. I'd much rather, if a player asks to investigate a scene, that I just give them the information as they bother to look. If they say they open a drawer, I'll tell them what's in the drawer. If they don't open the drawer, then I'm not going to tell them what's in the drawer, right? If we're playing that kind of detailed game, I'm thinking like a Call of Cthulhu mystery game, I would think interacting with the environment should get your character information. If you play it passively and you don't interact with the environment, then we need dice. We need dice to see if you discover something that you missed, right? So here's a game that demands that you read the damn diary to get the information, as opposed to just knowing it automatically or automatically advancing the quest because I picked up the diary page. You have to actually go look at the diary page. And for me, that is immersive, and for me, that is role-playing, right? I should be interacting. If we're at a table and I use handouts, and I hand out a scroll to one of the players, and they have to open the codicil and unfold the scroll, how how much more role playing, how much more interesting is that for the players at the table when we have
Obóz wojskowy,
props?
miejscowi mają
I
wstęp
rarely
tylko
use
za
maps and
pozwoleniem
minis, but I'll
dowódcy
use
garnizonu.
props, right?
A wyglądam ci na
It's
miejscowego?
engaging that way.
Wyglądasz na kogoś, kto sprawia kłopoty.
Wręcz przeciwnie, ja je rozwiązuję. Jestem Wiedźminem.
Wiedźminem?
And dude, I
Kapitan
just
Peter
love this Polish
Sargwynyak
actor
jest w
because
wieży.
it's just
Za bramą w
feels
prawo.
completely like a natural guy, right? A guy who's not putting on an affectation of his voice. Got work for me.
Zgaduję, że kapitan będzie miał do mnie interes.
To wojsko Nordlingu, tu się nie zgaduje.
Do wieży.
So what I really dislike about actors that play characters effective, like they know who they are, right? So when an actor plays Genghis Khan, like he knows who Genghis Khan is, that's off-putting as shit when I'm watching a movie. Genghis Khan was Genghis Khan. He was just who he was, but he didn't know in history who he was, right? Genghis Khan wasn't aware that he would go, you know, he was just aware of who he was and what he was trying to achieve. He didn't have an awareness of himself beyond achieving his tasks, right? So when an actor plays Elvis and knows he's playing Elvis, you can see it. It's off-putting as hell for an actor. Just be Elvis. Don't play like you know you're Elvis,
Nie
right?
znam żadnego hasła.
Well, same in this, right? I get the feeling the voice actor for Geralt, the American voice actor, well, he knew he was Geralt, right? He knew he was this guy,
A takich, co handlują wojskowym sprzętem?
right?
Widzę, że umiesz się licytować.
When
A
we
jak
exist
idzie
in the world,
targowanie się?
we don't really know. We're just doing. We don't really. I mean, there are plenty of people who put on affectations that are, full of shit. But all right, so the other blacksmith's not open to me yet, so I'm gonna go ahead and come here and see if I can't make sure my
Pokaż mi swój
equipment's
towar.
good. We have 250 spend, and my equipment currently is not in bad shape. But I'm gonna go ahead and repair all equipped. And I don't think he can craft me that. So here's part of the problem. So the other blacksmith can craft me. He can upgrade my armor. This blacksmith cannot upgrade my armor. So that's one of the reasons you want to open that first blacksmith, because he can upgrade your armor. However, he's got some stuff to sell here that might be important to me, but I'm not going to spend my hard-earned... What little I have in my pocket for any new equipment yet, I don't need it to be successful in this first country. All right, we're going to go up here, and now we get a cutscene with
To
Garrison
ile wiesz
Commander.
do żyta?
I ile powiecie, wasza ekscelencjo?
So years ago, I mentioned in a video,
Spójrz mi na
years
ręce.
and years ago,
No
how
spójrz.
I thought Witcher
Widzisz
3
te
was
odciski?
a true
To nie
role-playing
są
game.
ręce żadnej ekscelencji, tylko rolnika. Więc
On the
rozmawiajmy
digital
jak chłop
medium, the
z
true
chłopem.
role-playing
Ile
game.
możecie dać?
And I didn't have a chance to
Byłoby
expand on
więcej,
that
ale
as I mentioned
nasi
in passing in the
to
video that I was doing
Temerczycy
about
wcześniej
tabletop
już
role-playing.
zabrali
Dacie
i
30 i też będzie dobrze.
And so here's a
No,
chance for me to kind of
przybijmy
explain what I
targu.
mean. Why is
Spodziewam
this
się transportu niedługo.
a really good role-playing
Pięknie,
game
dziękuję.
for a console, for a video
Poza
game?
sołtysem wzywałem to tylko kowala Wiliego. Krasnoluda. Trochę jesteś na niego za wysoki.
The only thing that would have made this better for me is if I could have picked my own character, how I looked, whether it was a female or a male. I mean, that would have allowed me to really embrace whether it was a dwarf or an elf or whatever. But again, I know this is the Geralt trilogy, right? This was about Geralt, so that's cool. But I'm hoping Witcher 4 allows us to play in this world, be different professions, not just a witcher, maybe something else, a bard or a soldier. I really do hope the Witcher 4 game is just this world we can make characters. Okay, so can't argue with the
Ciężko
logic.
odmówić ci racji. Geralt z Rivii, Wiedźmin.
Wadgern. To tłumaczy, czemu nie słyszałem kroków. Czego tu szukasz?
Yennefer z Wengerbergu. Gdzie pojechała?
To tajemnica wojskowa.
Nie wywaliłeś mnie jeszcze za drzwi, nie wyzwałeś straży, czyli złożysz ofertę.
Gdzieś w okolicy zaląkł się gryf. Zabij go, a wtedy zobaczę, co da się zrobić.
Umowa stoi, ale nim zacznę, parę pytań. Wiesz, gdzie gryf może mieć leże?
Z początku trzymał się Lisiego Boru. Wysłałem tam patrol 5 młodych chłopaków. 2 dni później znalazł ich myśliwy. Gdyby nie nasze blachy, nie poznałbym ich. Od tego czasu gryf atakuje, gdzie popadnie. Na wsi, na polach. Na
So after this
trakcie.
conversation, I
Porzucił
will end this
legowisko.
video,
Trzeba
and maybe
zastawić
later I'll
pułapkę.
pick up and
Po
keep
to
playing
nie
this
wnoszę, że
walkthrough.
to nie będzie proste.
However, I'm a little
Czego
further
ci
along
trzeba?
on the PS4 complete version walkthrough, but
Muszę zdobyć pewne zioło na
I
przynęty.
like this
Szakła.
having
Gryf
to pay
wyczuje
close
jego
attention to
zapach z
everything around
10
me, even though I've
mil.
played through this beginning country
Szakła.
multiple times.
Pierwsze słyszę.
I know it all
Ale nie
pretty
jestem
well.
jeszcze
Later in
zbyt
the
biegły we
game,
wspólnym.
it can be a bit
Najpierw
clumsy
pewnie
as you
opanowałeś
try to
podstawowe zwroty.
navigate a world you
Ręce
don't
do
know as
góry,
well.
egzekucja.
Or a map you don't know as well,
Nie,
or a quest you
najpierw
don't know
były
as well.
powiedzenia. Na przykład nie igraj z ogniem. Idź do Tomiry. To zielarka, mieszka przy rozstajach. Pokieruje cię.
So I like subtitles. I watch all my movies and TV with subtitles if they're available because I'm hard of hearing. So I'm used to reading subtitles. So a lot of gamers may not like that because they'd rather not be trying to read subtitles while they play. But it's very natural for me. So that's why I can use the foreign language pretty easily because I'm reading the subtitles.
Potrzebuję więcej informacji o tym osobniku. Jakiej jest płci, czemu porzucił leże.
Przyprowadzić świadków?
Nie powiedzą nic ponad to, co już wiem. Muszę obejrzeć miejsce, gdzie zginęli twoi ludzie. Jak nazywa się myśliwy, który ich znalazł?
Mysław. Ma chatę na południe od wsi, pod samym lasem. Pomocny człowiek. Chociaż nieco dziwny.
So when I tabletop roleplay
To
as a
Mira i
character or a
Mysław.
GM,
Dzięki.
I'm not one to try to put on
Zombie actor.
distinct dialects and voices. I will very often go into dialogue as in first person to communicate with players or as a character, and I will put on an affected voice so to be clear that it's my character talking and not me. So when I'm in first person talking to Sam, I won't. I'll make sure I affect my voice enough that Sam knows it's my character speaking to the king and not me. So affectation works like that. I mean, well for tabletop roleplay. But again, for actors, I'd rather it be natural, and we believe they're Geralt not because they put on an affected voice, right? I've already done this. I don't know why I clicked on that. Okay, so now I know I got to talk to the hunter, and I got to talk to Temeria. Temeria, again, the swallow potion. When I talk to her, that's an opportunity for me to hand that potion over. So luckily, I know that because I've played through this as so I'm going to want to collect enough ingredients that I can gain that. And I'm really doing it not to gain experience. I would be doing it to gain favor with her if later I need her or I need something from her. So that's why I would do it, not so much for the 25 experience points or whatever it might give me. Because she is basically an herbalist in the area. And because I know Witcher, everything's connected and everything has context, she could well be needed later or show up later somewhere in the world, and it would be important that I've developed a relationship with her. Like the blacksmith, if I don't get that arsonist for the blacksmith, it affects what he charges me, but it also affects that he's even available to me. His services are available to me.
No!
Alright. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to go around a different way than I came. In the map. So I came up this way from the village, right? I left the little village, went across, up, crossed back, and then followed the edge of the inlet into this garrison ruin. And now I'm going to go backward around through the swamp and back around to the woman, Tamara, right here. And along the way, there is a swamp, a little swamp incident that I can help with. And of course, I can liberate this sawmill from monsters that have taken it away from the locals. If I do that, the locals will take over this, and there will be another store open up here, and a wheel that allows me to sharpen my blades. So by doing something, by just killing the monsters that have taken over this little sawmill, it opens up a couple things for my character naturally to benefit from if I want to. Or I can just head right over to her and deal with it. But again, I happen to know there is a mission here in the swamp that I can deal with that has, again, a story behind it and context behind it and a character that might later show up behind it, which is very cool, depending on how I deal with it. And then, of course, the sawmill just and it helps the locals like me better, because again, witchers are despised. The ignorant lay peasant, there's a bit of a hostility, a discrimination toward the witcher, and a lot of hostility toward witchers. So the more I can do to ingratiate myself with the local ignorant peasants, the better for me. So that's part of what engages us in this Witcher world. Is they set you up to be a Witcher, like the actual literature.
Naprzód.
They set you up to be in a world that is hostile towards you, sees you as a second-class citizen. But then it stays true to that when you get into the game, and then the game gives you opportunities to either make that worse by being a selfish prick, or by working to ingratiate yourself with the ignorant peasants, right? Which is pretty cool, right? If you're gonna put racism or discrimination in a game, give it context. It has to be based on something, whether we like it or not. It exists in the world, but give us a good reason for it, and then give us a way to embrace that as a role player. Either we work to change that view, or we work to make enemies of everybody who has that view of us. There should be a way to interact with that, not just it's there and it's going to always be a pain in your ass. Make it something we can either deal with proactively, or we can deal with negatively. I think it's very, very cool. If you're going to put stuff in, make it something we can interact with, right? So this guy here needs my help to investigate a wreck in the swamp. So this would be where I could do this mission. And I'm going to stop the game and this video right here. I'll pick it up again here later, if I so choose. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.